Hello, everybody, and my computer is barking at me. There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 21 of the Carrie Roldan Show, where we spend 30 minutes or so a week having conversations that matter to the entrepreneur's body, mind, and business. I'm your host, Carrie Roldan, and I'm a wife, a mother, a runner, a best-selling author, a personal growth junkie, and your total business BFF. And I help entrepreneurs to find their niche, create an offer that serves them, and launch it online in a way that resonates and still feels totally authentic. Now, if this sounds like what you need, grab my new ebook. It's called Get Where You're Going, Girlfriend, 6 Steps to Actually Achieving Your Outrageous Goals. In it, you'll learn how to get out of your own way and stop self-sabotaging and get into inspired action now. The 3 missing steps in the Ask, Believe, Receive manifestation model, and how and where to get the support you need to create the life and business that you dream of. And you can get all of that right here at carrieroldan.com/ebook. Okay, so you guys who watch the show, you know that I created this show because I have stumbled, and I continue to on my entrepreneurial journey, because the road to success thus far has been full of potholes, detours, and dead ends, not to mention self-doubt, fear, worry, marital tension, and personal struggle. And I wanted to share what I continue to learn on my journey in the hopes that it will help you guys too. And that's why I'm so excited about today, is because where the journey has taken me, I believe, is to right here in this moment. It is a really special day here on the Carrie Roldan Show, because it is the first installment of a new monthly series that I'm going to be doing with my dear friend and total business BFF, Cindia Carrere. We will be discussing the entrepreneurial journey to wealthy, and that's an acronym, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that in a second, through the chakras. And so if you watched my trailer for this, you got sort of a sense of what we're going to be talking about already. So I want to talk about Cindia for a minute, which is just to say that it is no exaggeration to say that I would not still be in business if it were not for Cindia Carrere. We met about a year ago by a chance, or maybe not so chance, phone call, and instantly became each other's business lifeline. In this past year, Cindia and I have been on the entrepreneurial journey together through the highs, the lows, the ups and downs, and all the in-betweens, and we've watched our businesses take off. But it could not have happened without each other's support. So I've helped Cindia in a number of ways, and the ways that she has helped me has been to remove the energetic blocks that were keeping me stuck, small, and afraid in my business. And let me tell you, we're not done. We're just getting started. And so that's why I'm excited about this series, because I have a feeling that as we go through this series, which is meant for so much more than just my journey and Cindia's journey, right? It's our collective journey, and it's actually the journey of entrepreneurship itself. Cindia and I will be talking about how the energy of entrepreneurship, the energy around business, is literally changing, and it's pretty freaking exciting. So, gosh, I'm like looking through my notes trying to decide what to talk about, and I think the best thing to say is just that if it's resonating with you, get ready, get a piece of paper, take some notes, because Cindia is about to just like spew wisdom onto all of us. So a little bit more about my dear friend. She works one-on-one with entrepreneurs to get to the energetic root of their unconscious programming so that they can get out of their own way and start achieving what they know is possible, and sometimes what they only dreamed was possible. I could go on and on and on about her, but no amount of introduction will do her justice. So here's what I want to do. I just want to bring Cindia on. We will sort of explain as we go. But Cindia, why don't you unmute yourself, and I put your face on the screen, and say hello.
Hi.
So, Cindia, as I was doing the intro, I just saw that Missy J has arrived. So, hey, Missy. And you guys, I finally got Comment Tracker to work for me. So, it's me getting my lipstick. So, if you're here live, say hello, and please join the conversation. Share your insights. But let's start with you, Cindia, so tell, for those people who don't already know you, because you have been a guest on my show before, how did you come to do this energetic work that you do now? How did you come to be the intuitive for entrepreneurs?
Hi, Carrot. Well, first I have to say thank you again for inviting me back to your show. And I just wish I could bottle you and have your delightful kind of energy. I would spritz some behind each ear.
Thank you.
That's a really good question. People say that you're either born with intuition or you're not, and I believe everybody is. So I'm in the school that everybody is intuitive, but it's not always nurtured or thought of as a positive thing. And I have to say that the environment that I grew up in, it was suggested that I turn it down. So I did have to kind of go underground with it for a long time. But my spirit always knew that it had to reconnect. And about a year ago, I suddenly got a download from the heavens, and just my whole perception of life changed. Within about a half an hour, I was given something called the energy grid that I can see, and I can perceive and see people's energy a lot more clearly.
So, Cindy, I'm going to put myself back on for a second because I recognize that I forgot to do something really important. So I've written down energy grid because that was huge when I met you, and you explained to me what it is that you could perceive, what it is that you saw. I, just like you're saying, you want to bottle me and spritz me, but I wanted what you have. So I think that's why we mesh so well. But I completely forgot to mention that today is the first day of our journey through the chakras, and we'll be starting with the root chakra. And I'm wondering if that what you just said about being in a home environment where your intuition was maybe like discouraged, right? And maybe you can explain a little bit better what that means, that your intuition was discouraged. But does that have any place in the root chakra?
Well, I have a really good relationship with my parents, so I don't want to say anything that would taint that or shift the perception. But when I say it was discouraged, it was told, do not use it. So I was made to promise for a long time, for years and years and years, that I would never access it. And that created its own blocks and dysfunction in there. And the root chakra is so important. For people, I'm sure most everybody on here and who will be watching this understand what the chakras are, but it's a Sanskrit word that means wheel. And it's an energy center, and there's debates about how many we have, but the main consensus is that we have 7 that we can talk about here, and that's why it's 7 weeks. So we have the root chakra, and that's located at the base of the spine, and it's a spinning wheel of energy, and our whole chakra system is where every single thing that we've ever experienced, heard, understood is recorded, and it's how we connect with everybody and with life. And the root chakra is the one that connects us and has the information of our generations before us, our ancestors, our primary caretakers. It's the root chakra, the tribe chakra. It has issues about security and stability and our foundation. And it's the very beginning of our power base. So I can talk a lot about it, but I want to pass it back to you.
So for those of you watching, Cindia is sitting there talking, watching me like take notes as fast as I can. Okay, because this conversation is just so fascinating to me, all of it. So I think where I want to start is, let's actually back it up. So first of all, I think it's interesting that you say your parents told you not to use your intuition, but when you say intuition and I say intuition, you think we're talking about the same thing, but I think we're talking about different things. Or my higher self knows we're not talking about different things, but I'm jealous of what I would call like psychic gifts. And when you talk about how you can literally see the energy grid, and having worked with you, I know you can like pinpoint things. That is amazing. But that wasn't something that you had as a child. So did you have, I'm sorry to go back to this, I've never asked you this question. Did you have psychic gifts as a child when your parents asked you not to access the intuition? What exactly were they talking about?
Well, I think you're right. I think everybody has their own dictionary and definition of words. So, for instance, while you and I are talking and you say the word psychic, to me, that conjures up ideas of being able to tell the future or fortune telling or something like that. And not at all for me. That's, I don't see the future. I can't, it's not anything like that. It's being very, it's being able to see what is in a person's energy field and what is clogging their fluid motion of energy. So I've used this analogy before and I've had feedback that it was helpful, so I'm going to pull it out again. It's like you live in LA and you talk a lot about traffic and traffic jams, and maybe that you only live 15 minutes from somewhere, but it can take you, a couple hours to get there if traffic's bad. So if our energy grid is like the freeway system where things can travel, it'd be like if you and I got into a helicopter and we had an aerial view and we could look at the whole freeway system at once and determine, oh, this one's really blocked up, that would take a long time if we use that one, and oh, that one's pretty clear, and oh, that route is under construction, and ooh, that one had a collapse, and so that one you can't even use it at all. So the way that I see things is where things are blocked and then where they're running smoothly. But when I was a child, I tended to be able to see where people were telling the truth or not. And so I saw people always as having two faces, and I could see the front one, and then I could see directly to the back one, and I thought that was absolutely normal. And so I could generally tell if someone was saying one thing with their public face and really meaning something else with their behind-the-scenes face.
So I'm laughing so hard, like imagining you as a child with that, and also thinking that that's probably a gift that you've always had that's gone with you into adulthood. And now you terrify me slightly in that I'm like, oh, she can tell when I'm not 100% truthful. And yet, I'm only kidding saying that you terrify me, because that's why you work so well with the people that you work with, is you can tell when they're quote-unquote lying, even when they don't even know that they are, right? Because it's the blockages, or it's the story that they tell themselves, or it is the face that they're putting forward, and they don't no longer even have contact or recognize the face in the background, if that makes sense at all. So I've gone on a tangent here, and I really don't want to do that, because this series is important, and I really just wanted to give background into you, Cindia, and a little bit of, because I know you well and love you well, and the way that I love people is to understand them, to seek to understand. I've learned that is how I love people. So I'm always seeking to understand you better. But I could ask you these questions all day long, and we'd never get to what you started to talk about in the root chakra. So we're talking about the journey to wealthy through the chakras. And we want to start today, we want to make today's show all about the root chakra. But could you because you'll do a much better job than I will at explaining this journey to wealthy through the chakras, can you explain why the chakras and why those of us who are entrepreneurs, whether we know it or not, are all on this journey to wealthy through the chakras? And I do have your acronym, so I can pull it up if you need me to. So I'll put you back on.
That'd be great if you could do that.
All right, so let me share my screen then. Oh, I got to find it first. Hold on. Cancel that. Moving on. Your beautiful face is still on the screen. All right, let's try this again. Okay, share, and okay, now people are seeing the acronym for wealthy. So do you want to explain it?
Okay, so each week we plotted out, and I wanted to be a lot more have everything planned, but the universe and life and Carrie said, no, let's just wing it. And so that's where I need to have some strength and experiences more in spontaneity. So each week we want to discuss the chakras and some of the issues that get stuck there. So we tend to read from top to bottom. So wealthy stands for women in worth, entrepreneur, abundance, love, trust your gut, health and happiness, and yes. Except for we're going to go from the bottom up. So we're going to start with yes, and at the root chakra. And I used to believe that everybody created their business based on the things that they were completely an expert at and the things that came super easy to them. But as I have found out, most people, at least right now at this time, are creating businesses from their awakening. Do you want to speak to that, Carrie?
Yeah, and actually, I want to pull up something that Missy J just said. So let's see if I can do that. Here we go. So Missy says, is this something like channeling your spirituality into your business potential, Cindia and Carrie? And I think, yeah, it is, only even more so. I think that this is a conversation I'm in so many different circles, right? But it's about that our businesses, right? It started out with these words, the heart-centered entrepreneur, and then I started talking about following the call of my soul, and then people talked about purpose-driven entrepreneurs, and we're all sort of dancing around this thing, right? That we're somehow a new kind of entrepreneur. But what I'm finding, and what Lisa Ingalls talks about all the time, right, is that our planet is in the process of awakening, right? We're all, at least where the world as I see it is awakening, if that makes sense. And I recognize that everything we see is a reflection of who we are. But there's just more and more evidence of people looking for something more than money in their business. And while don't get me wrong, we're looking for money in our businesses, we're looking for purpose, we're looking for meaning, we're looking for depth. And people are starting to create businesses, especially when the economy crashed. It was an opportunity for people to do what they'd always wanted to do, or for people to just take a different path. And so what we're seeing is all of these spiritually based entrepreneurs, heart-centered entrepreneurs, but people who have awakened in their own right and are now creating a business around that awakening. Cindia, did I do that justice?
Oh, you did great. And when you mentioned, and we're talking about the divine feminine energy, it has nothing to do with men over here and women over here or anyone dominating anybody. It's about a dance. It's about the spiral. It's fluidity. And I think what was happening before for a long time is an absolute separation of people's belief system, of their spirituality, and a much more antiseptic environment. So you'd go to work, you'd put your professional thing on, and you'd leave everything that you believed behind, and you just took maybe the corporate bylaws, and you just did your work. Then you went home and you were with your family for a few minutes, and then maybe on Sunday or Saturday or whatever day of the week, if you had a particular spiritual bent, you spent a little time there, and it was very segmented. And now those separations are getting thinner and thinner, and people are wanting wholeness and alignment, so that people know that when they're doing business with you, they're doing someone who is very heart-centered, or the spirituality. And you and I were talking that this entrepreneurial journey will challenge you spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Amen to that, sister. Yeah. So okay. So assuming I have you on the screen. Let me put myself back on. So assuming we're on this journey through the chakras, right? This entrepreneurial journey that is energetic. It's holistic, right? It's our whole life. What is the best segue into how do we get into this yes, right? The root chakra, that energy. Like, what is why do we start there? and what is important for us to know about that place, right? You talked about it being this wheel of energy, and the words that stuck out in my mind because of the work you and I have done together, and Cindia, just like know that this is sort of a no holds barred, so feel free to reference anything that is appropriate in for our viewers in the work that you and I have done together. But you talked about security, stability, and it connects us to generations. And I'll actually just leave it there, and you can take that ball and run with it.
Okay, so when you're talking about the journey through the chakras, we're talking about the ascension of our energy. Okay, so money has been created and held for a long time, basically in the lower chakras. And what is happening now with the awakening on the planet and all these messengers and everybody feeling this tug in their heart and in their soul to do something that has fulfillment with it, that people are just hungering to make a living doing what they love. And so in order for that to happen, money itself needs to be shifted from the lower chakras up to the heart. And as that happens, it moves through the chakras, and it moves through the power base, the lower three, the root chakra, up through the gut, into the heart. And when it does that, it will bring out all the issues that people still need to have healed. And you and I were talking beforehand in all our conversations that there is no shame in having things that need to be healed, okay? And that's part of the feminine holistic thing. Instead of segmenting it and pretending it doesn't exist, we're not talking about connecting on our pain points and using that as currency, but to understand that there are issues related to pursuing money, earning a living, starting a business, and growing a business. It has so much to do with how you feel about yourself, your value, your self-worth. Are you charging enough? Are you able to deliver? Your confidence. The throat chakra, self-expression, as women especially are starting to become more visible. There are now more opportunities than ever through all the different forms of media and radio and internet. When people start to become more visible, the old insecurities, the fears, the anxieties pop up, and that's just letting you know there's still some unfinished business, and to go ahead and clear that. And that's what I help people do, is when that energy is ascending and we're getting higher and higher and higher, it's like, don't suffer, don't be stuck. Just, it's okay. We can identify it and get rid of it easy peasy.
So I have a question. My question is about, you said when you said it really eloquently, and I couldn't write fast enough, but that there's the ascension of money to the heart chakra if we want to have a heart-centered business, right? A purpose-based business. I can't remember exactly the term that you used. So my question is about money in the chakras. And I've always heard that, you know, your root chakra is like your money maker, right? It's where, so are you saying that if I want to have a heart-centered business, that money has to ascend? Or are you saying that money actually is changing where it lives in the chakras based on so many of us wanting to earn a living doing what we love?
Yes, money kind of gets a bad rap. I mean, you know, when money, people have issues about it, shame about it, embarrassment about it. It's not polite to talk about money, religion, politics, right? But money has been kept in the lower chakras. You know, people associate money with sex and war and corruption and all that kind of lower vibrational stuff. And money itself is shifting and changing. And whether it's the heart-centered entrepreneurs that are doing it, or money has a mind of its own and it's going into the heart and we're following, you know, that's up for debate. But it is making a journey, and we're going with it, we're taking it, we're leading it, however you want to say that. And so the root chakra is about stability, it's about security, it's about identifying the beliefs that came in through both of your parents. And I know not everybody was raised with their original mother and father. It's the primary caretakers or the grandparents or whoever did raise you. And people, things, more than DNA. DNA is passed along, but so is spiritual DNA and mental and emotional DNA and how beliefs. And all that can get stuck and trapped in the first chakra. And that is where the people around you, it could be school teachers, neighbors, families, it's the adults in your world at that time. Everybody absorbs the beliefs around them. And then the second chakra, which we can talk about next time, is where you take those original beliefs and it's where you start making money. So the lower chakra is basically the root when you were a child and the beliefs that you absorbed.
Well, so I have a question about that. So then why are, in our acronym, right, to the journey to wealthy, why is the root chakra yes, right? I get that the work we need to do in our root chakra, and maybe you can give us some, like an example of some work that we could be doing, but why yes for the root chakra? Like, okay. I'm hearing, go ahead.
There's a lot of yes energy that is required to do this. So you have mentioned several times the call of your soul. When a person is not happy or they're not satisfied with where they are, with who they are, with what they're doing, that is a fabulous indicator that the higher self, God, the universe, is calling them for more. And so when we are called, you guess you have two answers, no or yes. So if it's no, then that's going to create a different kind of journey, a different kind of struggle. And so when you say yes, you may not know what it looks like. Obviously, you and I have shared that. But just saying yes is the first step, whether you already have a business, whether you want to create a business, whether you know that there's something tugging at your heart, tugging at your soul, that you have a story to tell, you have information to share, that you're a messenger on some level. It is stepping with the soul. I think the foot is interesting that it's also called soul, that it's the first place you touch the earth and you say, yes, I don't know what it looks like, but I'm willing. I'm going to answer yes.
Oh my God, I love that. I hadn't heard you describe it that way, and yes, yes, and more yes. And I just think about on my own entrepreneurial journey, the things that I have said yes to just because I wanted to. When I got out of my head, right, like let's take Hangouts. I was so excited about Hangouts, and I wanted to do them. I couldn't figure out how to make them work in my business. Like I couldn't wrap my brain around that, well, how is this going to serve my marketing? How is, like, trying to compartmentalize it. I just felt like I was called to Hangouts. I wanted to, like, explore this space. And when I said yes to that, even though I didn't know how it was going to work into my business, like the journey said yes to me. Does that make any sense at all? Like things started to fall into place simply because I was nudged. I kept being nudged to do these Hangouts things, and all logic said, you're not ready, you don't have an audience, you know, whatever. But there was a part of me that just said, well, I'm going to do them anyways. And so, yes, that's totally resonating. I want to pull up a comment. This is Missy again. She says, do you think the world is now getting some sister love in general, as women seem to have a problem of helping each other like you both? Sorry, I'm reading this and not there. Missy, there's no grammar in here, and I get that because I do it too. But it says, so let's see. The problem of helping each other like you both have helped and support each other. Got it. All right, I'm going to read that again. Do you think the world is now getting some sister love in general, as women seem to have a problem of helping each other the way you both have helped and support each other? So does that make sense the way I've asked it, Cindia?
How I'm interpreting that is women can be and have maybe a long time in the past either a source of sisterhood, like, I mean, yay, love the women, or sometimes women can be viewed as a little bit of a competition. So I'm not sure if that's the question, that the world is now ready to embrace each other and be in a spirit of cooperation and support and love and sharing and creating win-win situations.
Well, I think you're right on that, and that leads us to a conversation that we've been having that is surfacing. It's surfacing, it's like bubbling up and kind of can't be stopped, in that the old paradigms of doing business, the way that we've done business in the past, which was so competition based, is dying away, and we're finding that the way to succeed in business now, right, is from a creative standpoint, from a co-creative standpoint, from a collaboration standpoint. So whether, Missy, that's what you meant or not, that's what Cindy and I are going to say back, I think. Okay, go ahead, Cindy. I asked you about things that we can do to help us. Maybe I should ask this. How do we recognize if we need to do clearing in, and Missy says yes, that's what she meant. So how do we recognize if we need to do some clearing in our root chakra?
First of all, how do you feel in general? I mean, if you are lively and energetic and nothing is holding you back, then you're probably pretty good. But if you're exhausted at the end of the day, if you are around people, not every person, but if you can think of people in your life where you get exhausted after spending any time with them, if your money is in any way mucked up or it isn't flowing the way you would like it, if you're having any health issues, if anything in your life is out of balance and only you know what that is, it's not up to me as a definition, but if you feel like something is out of balance, like you have too much time on your hands or not enough time on your hands, or you're stretched really thin, or you're just constantly frustrated or irritated or grumpy, chances are you can probably benefit from getting some stuff cleared.
So I'll share a little bit of my journey, because Cindia, you know it really well, and I'm thinking it might be able to help as we explain how clearing some of this stuff can help us on our entrepreneurial journey. Is when I found out what you did, right, my initial reason for calling you up and having like a consultation, doing a little bit of grid work with you, was that I was about to launch a product, and I thought that I was feeling good, right? But I had invested a lot of money. I had a lot riding on this launch, in the sense that I felt a desperate need to earn a lot of money on this launch at one time. I also felt like I was going to. At least I thought I felt like I was going to. And when I called you up, it was like I just want to see if there's anything standing in my way. I want to clear out any last vestiges of clutter before I do this launch. And what came from it was a lot of stuff that I couldn't see, that I didn't, I don't want to say I didn't know about, because you didn't ever tell me anything that I didn't really know, right? Or you didn't, and I should say, you didn't ask me about anything that I couldn't remember or come up with. I just couldn't see how that had anything to do with anything that was going on in my life now. Does that resonate? Does that make sense?
Yes. So I see things in pictures. So imagine that your entire house has underground has pipes. You know, like your kitchen has pipes, and let's just say every room has pipes to get the water going from your kitchen to your bathroom to your laundry, okay? If you're in the shower and your shower isn't suddenly working, and you call in a plumber, and the plumber traces the clog to a pipe in the bedroom that goes between the kitchen and your bathroom, you would say, I had no idea that a clog 3 feet, 8 feet away could affect the water pressure. But there you are, standing all soapy under the shower with no water coming out. Everything in a person's life is connected. what they believe, their foundation, their power base, how they feel about themselves, how they feel about other people, their beliefs about money, their beliefs about what they can do, what they can't do, what is permissible. Everything is connected. So if there is a block over here, when the energy flows or tries to, it's going to affect in the present moment. And the whole idea is to get as clear as you can so that you are present and able to flow and deal with what's happening right now, not still concerned about what happened 40 years ago.
So, okay, so I'm going back to the yes energy thing. So, and I'm saying yes energy actually because that's a term that I love, that I stole from a Laurel Langemeyer book about, it's about money, right? About getting into yes energy, saying yes to the universe. That's how you're going to connect yourself to the money. So let's assume that we're all, people who are watching this show are entrepreneurs in one way or another. And I believe that this message that is sort of out there, right, about being authentic and stop, I hate to say stop listening to the gurus, because it's not like the gurus don't have great advice a lot of the time, but stop doing things that don't feel right just because you're told they work. So like for so many of the heart-centered entrepreneurs, it comes about hitting the pain point of your target audience and like exploiting. I think we feel that we're exploiting people's pain to getting them to buy instead of showing them the possibilities, if that makes sense. Anyways, all that to be said, we're on this journey. We've said yes. We have a business, and we are, for one reason or another, we're not attracting the clients and customers that we want. We're not maybe as visible as we could be. We've said yes, but things still aren't. Saying yes isn't the end, right? It's the beginning. So I think what I'm asking is around, is it important to start all this energetic clearing? Is it important to start at the root chakra? Is it important to start with yes?
Well, I love that we can say yes one time. That's just saying yes to yes to stepping on the path. We put out tons of rockets of desire. You know, we're always asking God and the universe and each other and ourselves for things, and yet often we say yes, and then we also say a bunch of no's. Okay, so it isn't just like one long hallelujah chorus of yes. It more looks like yes, no, 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 yes, no, yes, I don't know. So it's consistently saying yes, but saying yes to what is right for you, what feels good. And that's part of tapping into the intuition and trusting your gut, is that you will say yes to the things that support you and that are, and learning the difference. If you have a fear, is it a genuine fear because it's not right for you, or is it because you've reached part of your glass ceiling and that your own barriers, and it's uncomfortable to expand and push past it?
Sorry, I'm sitting here like nodding. Yes. Okay. So you, for people who watch this show, they know I reference my friend Holiday, who, by the way, never watches the show, I don't think. But Holiday and I often talk about surrender, right? Like, I surrendered. What the heck? But I think that that's what I'm hearing with you. It's the same thing with yes. It's not just saying yes one time, or not just surrendering. Because what I tend to do with surrender is like, okay, I've totally surrendered this. Like, it's up to God, it's up to the universe. It is, I let go of it in trust that it is going to be taken care of in the most beautiful way possible. And I do that for like 2 days. And then I'm like, something amazing, something miraculous happens. And then I'm like, sweet, I got it from here. And I screw it up all over again until I have to get myself to a place of surrender. So having said that, is that me with my own blocks? Is that human nature? Yeah, what is that?
I like that. Like we said at the beginning, it's just going to challenge us on every level, probably every day. And I remember saying that I felt like I had done this tremendous leap of faith for one event, And you said, great, now you just get up and do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. And you were saying that you got to face whatever is going on that day and for the rest of your life. And I wanted to get real quick back to your question, whether it's important to start in the first chakra. When a person comes to get anything cleared, it may start in the root chakra, but we always start with where the person is and where their concern is. And that particular block could be in their heart chakra. It could be in their gut. You know, it could be in the crown chakra. It depends on where that person's block is being held. So we're starting this conversation at the ground level and working our way up. But when a person comes, wherever their block is, that's where we start.
Okay, so speaking of that, let's talk about that for a second, because if I feel a little odd. This is the second time I've had Cindia on my show, and both times I've had Cindia on my show, I've felt a little bit like, oh, I don't think I'm explaining this right. Like, I'm clearly, Cindia, I have some blocks around having you on my show, in that it's so important to me that your work get out in the world, because it has been of such value to me that I think I stumble around and I go in circles. But let's start with that. So if someone is to work with you, and that is always a good choice, and what I started to say is that isn't this series is so much bigger. That's what I want to get. It's so much bigger than just whether or not you choose to work with Cindia, right? Because it's about what is happening in the energy of entrepreneurship. But having said that, I said at the beginning of the show, if it wasn't for Cindia, if I hadn't have worked with Cindia, I know I wouldn't be in business. And I'm going to share a little bit of my story, and then ask you to tell people how that they can get a hold of you and start working with you, or whatever that might look like for them. And that is that I would have given up. And I am smart. I am quote-unquote successful, right? I did not feel successful. I was this stay-at-home mom with a lot of gifts, who was really, really great at encouraging other people, helping see the businesses that lived inside of other people, helping other people to launch those businesses. Like, I was this business BFF to so many of my friends and colleagues. But for some reason, I didn't feel qualified to actually be the person, right? I always felt like I wasn't quite there yet. I wasn't ready. Anyways, it was through a lot of work with Cindia and discovering some things that I hadn't really recognized, that all I can say is that my energy shifted. And I know maybe that sounds a little cliche, but and I'm definitely oversimplifying the process, but I suddenly wasn't afraid anymore. And the things that seemed hard to me in the past, or like it seemed like, well, I don't know how to do that, or that's too complicated, all of a sudden things didn't seem so hard anymore, and it was like the path was well lit, if that makes sense. So before, this is a good way to say it, before I worked with Cindia, I felt like I knew there was a path, and I could see like everything on the periphery, but I couldn't actually see the path. And then in working with Cindia, the path was cleared. And I still sometimes am on the path, and there's like things that aren't clear, or there's a barrier. But now I feel empowered and know that it's just a barrier, and there's a way over it, under it, around it, or through it. So having said that, and Missy's saying she's so glad that I didn't give up on my journey. But having said that, Cindia, how does one go about finding you, having a conversation with you?
Oh, well, you just have to send an email to Cindia, C-I-N-D-I-A, at healyourgrid.com, and apply for an application, and I'll just read your application and see if we're a good match, and then we'll set up a time, and we'll have about a 30-minute conversation and create a strategy to see how I can help you. And I thank you for that, and I want to tell you, Carrie, that you have helped me so tremendously business-wise, creating a structure, because this information is just so, it's all raw. I mean, I just have like raw data coming in all the time, and you have helped give me a shape and a form for that. And so I am so appreciative of that, and that's why we're, business besties. And I want to say, as far as you surrendering for a day, or that your path being clear, I know that one of the issues is people want to see the complete path from A to Z. They want to know everything that they're supposed to do and just get on it. But if they actually could see everything, it could be overwhelming, and then the pressure of what they would end up doing would be too much. And so we're allowed to see enough to be able to be prepared for it. If you knew now how big you're going to get, it might terrify you. So you're getting it in chunks that you can handle and grow to the next level and to the next level. So sometimes having the path obscured is a blessing, and sometimes it is barriers that need to be, cleared.
Aw, thank you. I love that. And here's something, this will be a good wrap up, right? But before I did this work with you, I think that I would have, if you would have said, if you knew how big you're going to become, blah, 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 I would have felt two things. I would have felt instant fear, and I also would have, and you know this from having worked with me, there would have been fear, and there also would have been, yeah, that's what I want. What's the fastest path to that? And so you're right, in the surrender, and it's surrendering again and again and again, and in doing the work, it is about that. It's about getting enough of the path and feeling good enough about just walking that path and trusting it. And that's what I can say is what has come from my work with you is a lot of faith in the journey. And that has come, and I think that's what this whole journey through the chakras, and I keep doing this, so maybe that means something. But I think that's what this journey through the chakras is all about, is like you've talked about. It's about getting into energetic alignment so that you can walk the path in faith and in joy and in love and in peace and in happiness and in the knowing that you're on the right path. So we are actually out of time, so I'm going to give you this as like our last thing. But Cindia, is that it? Does that resonate?
That does resonate. You do such a great job. And Groom just passed me a note, and I'm going to read it. It said, let's put a link to apply on our Google Plus page. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, I think so. So what we'll do is, so what I want every single person who, and I hope that you guys can see how so genuine this is. I want every single person who I can reach to work with Cindia. And I know that would totally, then she'd have way too many clients, but it's just been so powerful and so transformative, and that's why I've asked her to be on my show once a month, is because I so wholeheartedly believe that this work is powerful and transformational, and that all of us entrepreneurs need to do it. We have to. If we are going to be these heart-centered, awakened entrepreneurs, we have to do this inner work. And I know I said we were out of time, but I can't help it. So I'm going to pull this up because Lisa Ann Palmer says, Cindia has helped me a great deal with my blocks, and then that's a little heart. So she loves Cindia Carrere. So on that note, yes, we'll put a link on the event page and a link to the application to work with Cindia on the event page. I encourage you, Cindia, is the application for a discovery session, or is it a paid session?
No, it's for a discovery session. I just can't, it does not a match for everyone. And so I like to have that be that people and I can find a way to work together.
Awesome. Okay, and now Maura Smith is also saying, I agree, Cindia is amazing. So see, you guys.
Thank you.
So don't just trust me, trust everybody watching. And yes, you guys, we're on this entrepreneurial journey together. That is my goal in having this show, is to just bring people on who can help us. That's what I do every week. I believe that we are going to get so much out of this entrepreneurial journey through the chakras. We've started in the root with just saying yes and recognizing that it's not a single yes. It's an everyday yes. And there's work to be done in that root chakra. There's clearing that needs to be done. And Cindia, you know, my own, and I bet I'm not done in there, but I know in my root chakra, right, I had a lot of beliefs around money and around power that have shifted and changed, and I'm forever grateful. So please, we are going to be here together, Cindia and I, the first Wednesday of the month, every month for 7 months, as we take the entrepreneurial journey to wealthy through the chakras. Check the event page for that link to a discovery session application with Cindia. But also, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just go ahead and email her and ask for it. So one more time, Cindia, that is Cindia@healyourgrid.com. Is that correct?
Yes. Thank you,
Okay.
Carrie.
You're welcome. So CINDIA@healyourgrid.com, or you can find the link on the event page. And then thank you, everyone, for staying an extra 20 minutes or so with us this week. I feel like it was well worth it. We'll go back to our regular half-hour format for the rest of the shows this month, but probably my shows with Cindy are always going to go a little bit longer. So next week, I'll have Jim Kerwin here on the show, who is the guy behind Get America Moving. He's an author, he's a speaker, he's this incredible health guy, right? And we're going to be talking about the importance of exercise for us entrepreneurs who spend our days behind a computer, and actually what that can do for our alignment. So I hope that you will join us. I hope that you will share the love, that you will share this episode as we just gather, right, our aligned tribe of entrepreneurs out here doing our good work in the world. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Cindia, and we will see you all next week.